So now, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for another year. I think you would agree that it has been very eventful, very rich. We've heard a lot of voices. We've had acts which we take on board. This is part of a broader conversation. This is not a closed forum. Everyone is welcome, and this was reiterated at the start of the show. We do not lock the doors on anybody, so anyone who wishes to raise their hand can make their voices heard. And I think we heard a lot of voices today, both from within the European Union, from without, from outside our borders. We had a number of various voices, new partners brought into the family, brought into the forum. And I hope you will go away from the forum saying that it was a rich and fruitful discussion. So thank you all of you for joining us here today. But before I hand over the reins to Janez to deliver his concluding remarks, I would like to thank all of the speakers and all of the panelists for their interesting contributions. I would say to keep an eye on the website for the videos and the presentations that will be made available in the coming days. I would like to wish a word of thanks to the Forum team for putting this impressive show on the road. This is a lot of work to get this day functioning from early morning until the afternoon. Special word of thanks from my behalf to the dynamic duo that are Emmanuel and Elodie, as well as Thierry, Alain Dominique and Marc, who worked so diligently over the past couple of months. Many thanks as well to the technical crew who guided us very smoothly during the course of the day here at the Square. That's Martin, Renaud and Ant. Microphones, batteries, everything. We were in safe hands with those three gentlemen in particular. I attended the first forum back in 2008 when it was a much smaller affair, and much more, I suppose, limited in discussion, and it grew over the past number of years. This is the 15th forum. So the first one was held in Bibliothèque Solvay back in 2008. I was a young journalist at the time, and I have enjoyed very much following the progression and, as I say, the opening up of the dialogue when it comes to agricultural production, dealing with environmental challenges, etc. This was my second year in a row moderating it, and it was a great pleasure once again to moderate with my co-host, Stephen Sacker. So please stay tuned for further events coming up in the week ahead. We hope to see some of you at the Spanish regional edition of the forum taking place in Madrid on May 31st. For myself, Stephen, and all of the team here at the forum, thank you very much for being involved, and until we meet again, take care. Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Let us finish the day as we began and invite the forum's chairman, Janez Potočnik, to take to the stage and to deliver the concluding remarks. Janez, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rose. Dear friends, the strongest and most resilient survive till the end. Thank you for being among them. I will not be long. The day was already long enough, and there was no shortage of important messages shared in this room today. We basically all agree where we should land, but we do not always see eye to eye how to get there. Also, many interesting concrete case examples were shared. There is no doubt most important and convincing way to come closer to citizens and make the transitional efforts concrete, tangible, and understandable are exactly the concrete case examples which could be replicated and scaled. My only warning would be that those cases should not become a kind of soft landing pillow to make us feel better and be used as an excuse to avoid the necessary system change. System change is unavoidable, not easy, nor comfortable, but needed. And when it comes to needed system change, food sector is currently rather lagging than leading. No need to hide that. But one could hardly find any economic activity which is so dependent on healthy environment and already facing climate change consequences so clearly as agriculture. Many of you working on the fields know that much better than I do. And one does not need to be a genius, so only using common sense would be more than enough to conclude that interest of farmers and environmentalists should be, to a large extent, the same. Why? They are many times on the different side of the argument. It is the question we are obviously not yet been able to successfully unpack, but we should. I dare to say that there is nobody in the room or outside it who would believe that the necessary change could be achieved without farmers. And there is nobody here and also out there who would not believe that farmers deserve a decent life and a reward for their hard and noble work. We have heard from farmers that they need predictability and freedom to make the things right. And indeed, we need to set that predictability and the conditions right on the market and when it comes to the main funding instruments, which should provide support for the necessary transition and not just the opposite. Currently, the main strategic document, Farm to Fork in European Union, and the main funding instrument, CAP, are all but well aligned. Next CAP must be designed around transition vision. Failing to provide this consistency again would be missing the last train for an organized and manageable food sector transition. We have heard a very encouraging statement coming from the farmer side. We are ready, able, and willing. Let us use this readiness, ability, and willingness to make the things better, to make them right. Dear friends, one could not overstate the importance of market signals. You are not hearing me saying that for the first time. As long as markets will be the core distributional mechanism, market signals we receive as producers and consumers matter most. They are still telling us that it makes more economic sense to destroy rather than to protect the nature. This is incredibly difficult to reverse since we are all so used to not value nature, so used to existing prices and relative relations among them. Lack of fairness and income differences in our societies, even if one could be proud on what we have achieved in Europe in this context, are not making transition easier either. Globally, even less, in particular in low-income countries. Many can simply not afford healthy and nutrient food. Therefore, environmental and social transition, leading the way to a more equal world, must go hand in hand, or we will fail, and our sincere efforts will be in vain. Changes which are not acceptable are simply not acceptable, even if well-designed and well-intended. But science and also reality happening around us are telling us that the time is running out. Fixing tomorrow today is not a simple slogan. It is necessity. Let me repeat, time is running out. I guess we can all agree that there was no shortage of ambition shared among us today at the forum. My wish, as well as the urgency call so clearly shared among us based on science and reality around, is that all these words should be mirrored in our behavior in practice, our actions, and our reactions. The policy and public space are transparent, and sincerity is the base for necessary trust. And the voices outside the room reminded us also on that. And our call for action has been done exactly with this intention. Finally, it is part of my role, an important part, to also thank all who have contributed to the success of the forum. Our strategic partners, IUCN, TNC, WWF, ELO, Cargill, Syngenta, and of course, also to all partners here with us today and also supporting us during the whole year, growing in number as I can happily conclude. I would also like to thank the Forum Secretariat members led by Emma. Whenever I pass the rooms, they are very much in their papers and computers. But despite that, they always raise their hands and share a smile. There is no bigger reward in our life than seeing people working hard but remaining in the first place people. People who know what matters, valuing everything we are working for and trying to achieve it wholeheartedly. And I would also, of course, like to thank Mark, Forum's strategic right hand and mind, traveling around, investing his time and making Forum broader and deeper, substantially and geographically. Technical crew for keeping us in very safe hands the whole day. Special thanks this year goes also to our tireless illustrator outside the room, who has translated our words to something more meaningful. All in all, we understand messages easier if they are translated into a fully universal language. Special thank you again goes to our fantastic couple of moderators, to Stephen and Rose. In their hard way talk approach, but with professional and respectful manner, they led us to the soft conference landing. And we have landed. So my final thank you goes to all of you, participants here in the room, as well as those following us from remote places. Without you and your attention, all our efforts would be meaningless. Thank you for joining us also this year, and I hope you will be with us also in the year to come. Safe way back home for those who need to travel, and to everybody, take care. Thank you.